Morning, friends, and welcome back to my kitchen. Today, I'm going to make a gluten-free gingerbread muffin. Now, I've made this recipe before, and I'm going to tweak it a little bit this time to my preferences. I thought the first time I made it, it was not as sweet as I would have preferred, and I would like a little more spice to it. So this is my revised and updated recipe. Now, to make this gluten-free, we're going to be using almond flour and oat flour. And I had a heck of a time finding oat flour. I did find it at Albertsons, but they did not have it at the Whole Foods store. They did not have it at Trader Joe's. So I had a little trouble finding oat flour. I think you can also find it on Amazon. And the main ingredient for the liquid is Greek yogurt. Now, the original recipe calls for plain Greek yogurt, but I found the recipe to be not as sweet as I would have liked, so I'm going to use honey vanilla Greek yogurt. Then, of course, we're going to use some molasses and maple syrup. Better if you have real maple syrup instead of this maple flavored syrup. A little bit of baking powder, a couple of eggs, and then for the spices, of course, we're going to need ginger, a large amount of ginger. We're going to have the exact amounts of all the ingredients in the description box below. And then I'm also going to use pumpkin pie spice, and a similar formulation is Chinese 5-spice. You can use a combination of the two like I'm going to do. You can use all Chinese 5-spice or all pumpkin pie spice, or you can use the individual ingredients if you don't have the spice mixes, which would primarily be cinnamon and some nutmeg, allspice, and cloves. But look up online if you want to get a exact proportion recipe for making your own pumpkin pie spice at home. But I really like the addition of the Chinese 5-spice because this has ingredients that the pumpkin pie spice does not have, such as fennel and anise seed. So we're going to give this a really nice spicy composition. I've got my oven preheating to 350. I've got 12 muffin tins. And this is very quick and easy to put together once you have everything set out and measured out. All right, we'll get our liquid ingredients together here first. 2 eggs. This is our cup of Greek yogurt. Now you can use plain Greek yogurt if you want it a little less sweet. But this is honey vanilla Greek yogurt, I believe. So it's got a little extra flavor in there, which I'm kind of looking for. So a cup of Greek yogurt. Then we're going to add about 2 ounces or so of molasses. A little less than 2 ounces, which is 1/4 of a cup. We're going to add 2 ounces of maple syrup. And I'm going to add about a tablespoon of vanilla because I am a vanilla fanatic. That's vanilla extract. And now we're going to get this all blended together. You can use your mixer. I have a mixer, but I rarely get it out because it's a lot of trouble, in my opinion. So just mix this all together. Whisk it in. Ooh, it's smelling good already. The vanilla really gives it a nice aroma. We want to mix this till it's pretty smooth and get all the little bits of yogurt consolidated down. And blend it in with the egg and the sugars. There we go. That looks pretty good. Okay, next we add our dry ingredients, which is 1 cup of almond flour. This is a gluten-free recipe for those that have issues with gluten. And a 1/2 cup of oat flour. Now, if you can't find the oat flour, go ahead and use 1.5 cups of almond flour, and that'll work just fine. Alrighty, next come our spices. We have 1.5 teaspoons of ground ginger. Now make sure your ground ginger is fresh. Don't pull something out from your cabinet that's been there for several years. Sniff it and see if it still smells nice and fresh. I had to go out and buy new ginger, and I threw my old away because it was no longer any good. They don't last forever on your shelf, even though they are dried. And then we have a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. And a teaspoon of Chinese 5-spice. Now, if you don't have those, I will include in the description box below if you want to put the individual spices, like how much cinnamon, how much nutmeg and allspice and cloves. But if you have these pre-mixed pumpkin pie spice and Chinese 5-spice, that's a lot easier. Then we need a teaspoon of baking powder. Same thing as with the spices. You want to make sure your baking powder is fresh. It's primarily baking soda, and it's got a little cornstarch in there with it. And then we have a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I'm putting in a 1/4 teaspoon of cardamom. Okay, that's all of our spices and dry ingredients here. Now we'll just mix this up. Give it a real good blenderizing here. It's coming together so nicely. And that is all there is to it, folks. Now you can put this in an 8x8 pan and bake it for about 25 to 30 minutes. Make sure your pan is greased and floured. But today I'm making cupcakes, and they only need to cook for about 20 minutes. And this makes about 12 cupcakes. And gosh, I think that's mixed quite well already here. The thing I like about this whisk is it really gets into the corners of your mixing bowl. Okay, and we want to really make sure it's mixed up because we want to get those spices into every little part of the batter. Okay, alrighty, I have this sort of a mini ladle here that I believe I just got it at the Dollar Tree. I saw it there and I thought, wow, that's a nice handy little size. And it turns out to be pretty good for doing cupcakes. I'm always on the lookout for gluten-free recipes because my daughter-in-law is allergic to wheat gluten. And they don't even like to keep, even though the rest of the family can eat the gluten, they don't really like to have it in the house because, you know, you want to have something everybody can eat. So this is something that everybody in their house can eat. And it seems like no matter how careful I try to be, I end up getting a mess everywhere here on my baking pan. Probably going to take me a couple of scoops for each of these. Now these don't rise a whole lot, so you can go ahead and fill your cups up pretty full. Another thing I like about this little scoop that I got at the Dollar Tree, it's flexible, and it's sort of like a spatula, a combination of spatula and ladle. So it kind of will scrape the batter out of here, if that makes sense to you. Okay, which one needs a little more? This one. Okay, so that's about it. We've got our oven is preheated to 350. Let me clean up the mess I made here on the pan because I don't want little burn spots. Setting off my fire alarm. All right, they're ready to go into the oven, and we'll see how they look after 20 minutes. We're going to test them with the toothpick and see if the toothpick, when inserted in the center, comes out clean. So into the oven they go. Okay, my 20-minute timer has sounded. So let us see how these look. Ooh, looking pretty good. Take them out and give them the toothpick test. So these are a great treat, gluten-free. You can top these with some regular cream cheese frosting if you'd like. I think lemon goes particularly well with gingerbread. I made a lemon sauce and some cupcakes like this, and I took them to Hollywood Bowl with us a couple weeks ago, and they were very well received. Oh yeah, it hasn't come completely clean, so it could do another minute or two in the oven, but yeah, these are good. Great with lemon frosting, cream cheese frosting, lemon sauce. I'll be putting up a video for lemon sauce in the next day or two. I've already made it and I've already recorded it because I made it a couple weeks ago, but I just have not posted it yet. I wanted to get this recipe just right before I presented it to you, and I think this will do it. So take care. I hope you enjoy this recipe. I hope you give it a try. It's super simple, and the holidays are coming up, so it's perfect for the holidays. We'll talk to you all again soon. See you in the next video. Bye.